In his book, The Invisible Coup, How American Elites and Foreign Powers Use Immigration as a Weapon, author Peter Schweizer contends that sabotage is now underway. It's undermining the established U.S. social order. The Trump administration has a birthright citizenship case before the U.S. Supreme Court. You write extensively about the efforts of wealthy Chinese elites to birth babies in the U.S. territory of Saipan so they can become U.S. citizens. So what's that all about?
Yeah, China's engaged in an industrial scale exploitation of birthright citizenship. The idea that if you are, born in the United States, your mother happens to be here and you're born here, you're automatically granted U.S. citizenship. And I didn't really think about this issue until I realized what China was doing. The Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party, have been encouraging this for more than a decade. They've been encouraging members of their elite to bring their wives or girlfriends to the United States, give birth here, get the citizenship, and then a couple of weeks after the child is born, bringing them back to China where they are going to be raised in China. The problem is, Gary, that when they turn 18, they've been raised, they've lived in China pretty much their entire life. They're going to be able to vote in U.S. elections because they are U.S. citizens. Then the question becomes scale. How many people are we talking about? And it turns out it's massive. The Chinese government believes that on average, over the course of the last 13 years, every single year, roughly on average, 100,000 Chinese babies have been born in the United States or on our territories, places like Saipan. So if you do the math, that's more than 1 million U.S. citizens, I'm going to put that in air quotes, U.S. citizens are living in China right now. They're being raised there, and they're going to be able to vote in our elections. That's a massive intrusion into our internal politics. To put that number into perspective, Gary, let's remember the 2016 election, Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton. That was settled by 72,000 votes. So 1 million votes from China obviously could swing a presidential election easily.
And their allegiance would be to China and the Communist Party, not to the United States and the democratic process, correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. These are the children of the elite. These are not dissidents. The China birth tourism industry, which is what allows this to happen, they provide the services to bring these pregnant women to the United States and get them back to China. They brag about who their clients are. They are military officers, intelligence officers, propagandists. These are the heartbeat of the Chinese Communist Party system. And it begs the question, why would the Chinese Communist Party be encouraging people like this to do this with their children? And I'm going to say it's not because they're doing it in our interests.
Finally, Peter, we don't have a lot of time to cover everything, but you discuss how Presidents Clinton, Obama, and Biden used immigration to help win elections. Tell us about how they relaxed immigration rules to expedite citizenship for millions of legal and illegal migrants.
Yeah, Gary, my parents came to the United States and were naturalized here. They became U.S. citizens. They had to take a citizenship test. They had to do a criminal background check. They had to show a proficiency for the English language. The problem is that every Democratic president since Bill Clinton, when they come into office, they have immediately watered down or eliminated these requirements, meaning they ignored hundreds of thousands of criminal background checks. They don't really require working knowledge of English. They don't require, or they water down the civics portion of the test. And the question is why? Well, the answer is they realized in the 1990s that newly minted U.S. citizens, at least for the first 15 or 20 years that they're in the United States, vote heavily for Democrats. It's about 85%. That evens out over time, and certainly the children of new U.S. immigrants, it more approaches 50-50. But they have this advantage, this massive advantage for more than 20 years. They've exploited that. They've recognized that. So they have manipulated the system for their political benefit. If you look at recent American political history, the biggest years for having new U.S. citizens approved in the United States were 1996, 2012, and 2024. Those were always re-election years for Democrats. So this is a political purpose. We need to prevent the watering down of our citizenship requirements, make sure people pass criminal background checks, show their competency in English and their ability to pass the civics portion of the test in order to get citizenship.
And maybe a federal ID to show at the voting booth.
Yes, absolutely. That would be a huge step as well.
Okay, the book is The Invisible Coup: How American Elites and Foreign Powers Use Immigration as a Weapon. Peter Schweizer, another excellent, well-documented, impactful book. Congratulations and thanks for joining us. God bless you.
Thank you, Gary. God bless you.